Hello, my name is Sonali Pawar. I'm a MS Data Science student, and today going to talk about a approach of ML models to detect the deficiency of vitamin D deficiency severity level. So the vitamin D deficiency has been a silent killer, and it has been a main cause for lots of ailments among the children. The there is uh, vitamin D deficiency are caused mainly due to the due to the sun exposures, the lifestyles, the rural and urban areas where there's an exposure, or due to the seasons where the vitamin D, because of which the vitamin D level are low in children. Uh, so it's because of low vitamin D level, there are quite a number of diseases which occur among adults and the children. Now, it could be bone degeneration, it could be the kidney diseases, and it could be diseases called fatty liver, uh, anemia, all these things are related to the vitamin D deficiency. So what we see here is the 90% of Indian children which are uh, low in vitamin D deficiency, and the 74% of infant born are found vitamin D deficient. uh, the children with the higher screen time are found to be vitamin D deficient because they don't have exposure to the sun. The dietary intake also is a main reason. So here we are talking about a clinical relevant module where we'll be talking about normal, mild, moderate, and severe severity level of vitamin D. What we have seen uh, is that in in the initially what all people had done, or the background, what we when we go to the detection of vitamin D severity level, the AI models which were used were not proactive, they were reactive. And apart from that, the things which affect the severity of vitamin, like low vitamin D level deficiency, is mainly because of the cultural norms, lifestyle, pollution, and it leads to weak immunity, infections, cardiovascular diseases, and ultimately leading to a poor educational outcomes. The problems here are the tests, what they were doing. They what we had been doing are invasive. Invasive, when we say invasive, it's like a blood test we take, and these kinds of tests are costly, and it does not reach the rural people or the remote area people. So lack of interpretability, they hinders the trust of the adoption of the ML models. So, for and they don't use other predictors for the uh, to detect the deficiency of vitamin D severity level like sun exposure, diet, and the growth metrics, which plays an important role in the vitamin uh, D deficiency. The significance of the study is that it can be used by the health professionals because it can be the module that we have developed is uh, non-invasive and a person doesn't have to go to a lab to get a test done. It can reach to the community health workers, the community people who are using, or the NGOs who are working for the betterment of health of the uh, lower class or the rural areas. We can It can be used by the public health agencies, and we can pinpoint them the high risk of uh, which group is the higher risk, so that they can allocate resources accordingly. And the parents are definitely benefited as they can uh, use measures. Researchers can also use this module for uh, developing or understanding more about the about the vitamin D deficiency. Uh, the novelty of our module is that we have used multi-class classification, where we are using mild, normal, mild, moderate, and severe parameters. We are using XAI tools like Sharp and Line for transparencies. We are using a modular approach, and it's open source and reproducible ML pipeline. We are focusing on low resources and potential integration into national screening programs. The research question what we talk about here is which is the best multi-class severity vitamin D deficiency, uh, multi-class severity classification for vitamin D deficiency. Then, which framework provides uh, a better over the traditional binary classification? Um, we talk about the non-invasive features of vitamin D severity level as we ex- use sharp and line, and it can be deployed by the health providers. So as we talked earlier, we have used multi-class ML model, and we have compared classic and advanced algorithms, and we have used different matrices. We have used a explainability framework using sharpened line. Yeah, it's again an open source and used for potential clinical integration. So the global burden and So the global burden and epidemiology is that the different features which are affecting the uh, deficiency of vitamin D. So it mostly prevails in South Asian countries, and in India it's mostly among the younger children. Now what contributes to it is the indoor lifestyle and the limited, because the lifestyle is indoor, so limited sun exposure. There's some cultural norms also affecting here, and the pollution. The skin color also affects the absorption of vitamin D. Sorry. Urban and rural, urban people are having a problem with the sunlight exposure, as the kids are having more screen time. The rural people, what they are having, the problem they have with is the dietary consumption. They are not aware of the dietary which they have to take should be rich in calcium, so that the vitamin D can be absorbed properly. The season also affects a lot, because in summers, it's peak summers, people don't go out, so vitamin D deficiency is more. In autumn and winters, vitamin D deficiency is lower, because people go out. Spring in sunny region again have a moderate vitamin D deficiency. So here's a chart depicting the urban and rural children less than 5 years, if they have the screen time. So we have seen the urban kids, they have higher rate of deficiency because of their screen lifestyle and the screen time. So when we talk about the nutritional part of vitamin D deficiency, how it affects the health. So when as we know, sunlight is important for vitamin D. So when we eat something, uh, we need calcium for it to for the vitamin D to get absorbed in our body. The vitamin D, the serum 25 OHD is produced by livers and kidney, and then it's being circulated through blood in the body. So, when we don't have uh, a sufficient vitamin D, it leads to child malnutrition. Most of the kids, they have anemia. The existing vitamin D deficiency models are basically binary classified, which tells you whether it's sufficient or deficient. So it's like yes or no, and it can the output given is not adequate in there. So it actually limit their clinical utility and integration. Here, why we are having problem in diagnostics of severity of vitamin D level is because the different organization have different thresholds of deficiency, insufficient, and sufficient. So because it is different, the thresholds are different. So coming to a certain level of uh, deficient or in deficient or inefficient for the world is worldwide is not possible. So it actually is different to a region specific. The graph here, the map here shows how the vitamin D deficiency is lower in the colder regions and higher in the warmer regions. So when we talk about the clinical thresholds, so here we see that the US Endocrinic Society is having very high threshold, whereas Indian endocrinic system is having a lower threshold, and the charges for these are high. So and it's invasive. So these traditional invasive methods are not reached to the remote and the rural areas. The gaps what we have in existing and the our existing and the advanced model what we have is that the the classical models they have binary approach, and the output is binary, either yes or no, or you can say deficient or sufficient, and it is invasive, and it it doesn't consider other factors like sun exposure, maternal health, VAS has, which are crucial for the infants to 5 years of children. So, the latest ML models have multi-class classifications, and it is non-invasive. Non-invasive, like we don't have to go to laboratory for the tests. Uh, and it is ML model could provide accurate multi-class severity prediction using readily available data, increasing accessibility and critical utility. To, the features which we are using for multi-class classification is at anthropometric measures, that is weight of weight of age z square, height for age z square, BMI for age z square score, and weight for height z score, that is like the score of a child, what was the weight of a child and height and BMI when the child was born. So we have other behavioral environmental features like sun exposure, physical activity, dietary diversity, and feeding practice. We are also considering maternal mother's vitamin D level status, because if the mother is vitamin D deficient, and if the baby has to born with a vitamin D deficiency. So here the interactions what we have is uh, age and sun exposure, rise in dietary diversity, and maternal status and infant feeding. We talk about the binary approach, which we know is deficient versus non-deficient. It's limited and higher accuracy but less informative. Whereas the multi-class approach is having more of norms like normal, mild, moderate, and severe is clinically actionable and more challenging but higher value. Uh, so SMART is the technique we are using to balance the imbalance classes, and Starfield K-fold cross validation we are using, and then we are using training and test splits. So how we are implementing the data processing here is, first we are cleaning the data, then doing the feature encoding, like putting it as numerical or categorical. Then what are the scaling techniques we are going to use? We define that, and how we'll distribute uh, like classes, like random oversampling is used to adjust the classes. Dimensionary reduction is reduction of noise. Like noise means when we have nulls, and when we have uh, the empty values, how do we use those values, and how do we fill up using uh, the class module. And it retains the 90 to 95% of original information. Uh, Pipeline integration is also ensured. So here we have a number of principal components and how it's affecting variance ratios. The library that we are using here is machine libraries we are using. For visualization, we are using Matplotlib and Seaborn. And for programming, we are using Python, Jupyter, and VS Code. Uh, the the Shapley additive explanation, it calculates features contribution and prediction, and the LIME is a local interpretable model agnostic explanation, creates a simple interpretable mode around individual and prediction to explain the ML decisions. So the explanate uh, explainability focus and multi-class VDD models are having has been increasing throughout the years. So here we are having all the models we have used: logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, XGM, KNN, XGBoost, LightGBM, CatBoost, and MLP classifiers. So here is the performance of all these uh, all these models. So the strength, we'll talk about decision tree, because decision tree has come out to be the most relevant and uh, uh, most adopted model for this thing. So it's tree based, fully interpretable, overfitting, and it can be clinically aligned. And XGBoost has a higher accuracy and it's opaque with sharp. We have the MLP classifier, which is a neural network. It captures hidden parameters, and it's a black box behavior. So evaluation matrices what we have used here is accuracy, precision, recall, macro average precision, or accuracy will give you the accuracy. Precision will evaluate how many instances were correct, classified as positive, and recall is has the ability to identify actual positive cases among the total actual positives, and macro average is overall precision score all classes, treating them as equally regardless of sample size. What we have in scope is we have kids who are under 5 for our study, and we have used multiple algorithm, non-invasive feature, multi-class classification using sharp and light, and open source we have used. Out of scope is deep learning and biochemical invasive parameters, regulatory test, and direct integration with health system. These are the 6 chapters of the where we have used we have got used for the study. So data set relationship here, when we see here, the sun exposure is playing a crucial role because it's different in uh, different set of children, and when we talk about vitamin D severity, it's mainly normal for most of the children, but the sun exposure is not it's not the case with the sun exposure. So here we have used a tool which is cost effective, non-invasive, and which can screen the kids uh, under risk. The key predictors are weight for age, sun exposure, dietary, uh, which have been highly used for the prediction of these models. We have used transparent models which are more trusted and can be used effectively for clinical purpose. So with the programming language, ML classification, we modular class we have used. So we have used a modular class called vitamin D severity predictor, and which is having 5 main component. initialization, training, evaluation, saving, and expandability. We have used 70 to 30 train test split. We have used hyperparameter tuning like grid search for complex model and five-fold star field cross validation, cross-val scores for reliable assessments. Here is the and performance of different models. So model is long-hard and interpretable and efficient. Decision tree is non-parametric, clear rules, and automatic features important risk of overfitting. Random forest again is a uh, in is intuitive, but it's like decision tree only. It uses internal features and it is less intuitive than the decision tree. XGBoost, which is gradient boosting, is high in accuracy. It balances the imbalanced data, like you making it handles missing data, and it is complex and requires tuning. Light GPN is highly gradient boosting process, which is fast, uses low memory, it's highly accurate, and it uses categorical handling. Cat boost is moderate gradient boosting. It also uses the categorical variables strong on imbalanced multi-classes. It MLP classifier is complex, non-linear, and requires extensive tuning, uh, black box natures. So how do we handle the imbalance of uh, our model? So class imbalance is significantly challenging, so it affects the model accuracy and prediction. Feature engineering optimizes performance, creates new variable based on the uh, domain expertise. Random oversampling is one of the technique which is used to increase the class instance and balance. SMART enhances class representation. It creates synthetic sample for minority minority classes. So the sharpen line is uh, the sharp sharp is sharp uses VAS, sun, exposure, age, and birth weight like features for the prediction, and Lime uses uh, the case specific clarity, like why the children with low sun exposure and poor growth are the indicators, and it considering at moderate deficiency. So we are using a dual approach where we are using quantitative and qualitative interpretability. For quantitative, we are using accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, AUC, ROC, which uh, for which we have to give them numerical measures and see the accuracy of the model and the prediction and their predictions. It is a traditional performance. Chap and Lime are like it understands why the models make certain predictions. This is particularly vital in healthcare when trust and transparency are paramount. So the accuracy, precision, recall are the matrices and how it uh, scores. So F1 scores is a it balances precision and recall. AUCROC, it is a trade-off between true positive and false positive. Precision measures positive accuracy rate. Comparative analysis would be like different models are using what kind of features to uh, have the accuracy F1 scores and ROC scores. Oh, we see in the below table we see the highly accurate with the highest F1 score is decision tree, and its execution time is also fault, and SAP explainability is high globally and local also. Cat boost is good and MP classifier is limited. So here's the radar diagram showing the different models, accuracy, AUC and F1 scores. So here we are using F1 score comparison and AOC ROC scores comparison of different models and the key predictive features which are used for vitamin D deficiency status. Final model recommendation and deployment is the decision tree. Decision tree fosters trust and transparency. It is suitable for it's suitable and it ensures accessibility and utilization in low resource setting. Comparison, when we compare it with the other models, it lacks interdependability. I think ethical AI integration will be the decision tree, transparency, and ease of retaining support. Sustainable AI integration. This aligns with ethical consideration in pediatric health screening. So, future directions would be we can have more innovative framework, we can have scalability and reproducibility. We can there are certain limitations and of geographical data and the class imbalance. So we have to use it for real time deployment to have higher accuracy and see whether it performs well. But the further research would be auditing frameworks and clinical validations and online learning compatibilities are essential steps. Impact on pediatric public health would be that ethical model generability. These advancement aims in address vitamin D deficiency in children efficiency. That is all. Uh, so thank you for your time and